On behalf of Basic Home Inspection, I'd like to take the time to say thank you for allowing me, a licensed home inspector, to give you this quick renter's orientation video. At this time, you should have already walked through the property and annotated any deficiencies you notice onto your inventory condition form prior to moving furniture and personal items into the property. What is a renter orientation? What is it all about? It's about you, the renter, becoming familiar with the location and operation of certain components in a rental property, ensuring you have the basic knowledge and understanding of what's your responsibility in a lease agreement as a tenant. I will initially cover components of the exterior and then work toward the interior of the property. It is imperative you listen carefully during this video presentation and watch it in its entirety, because as a tenant, you're responsible to mitigate damages. Preventive maintenance is a key factor the tenant must keep in mind. The first item I will talk about is the main water shutoff valve to the rental property. This is a question that needs to be answered on your inventory condition form. The main water shutoff valve is commonly located on the front exterior, curbside, to the left or right close to the street. This is city property, and you as a renter will not be operating this component. In case of emergency, contact the city water department to have this item turned off to reduce flooding and mitigate damages to the property. The next item on your orientation list is the main and secondary electrical panels. This is another question that needs to be answered on your inventory condition form. The main electrical panel, commonly located on the exterior of the property, controls the power to the resident. When you slide this lever, you'll be disconnecting all the power to the rental property. Come here to this location to shut the power off only in cases of an emergency. In most installations, if this power is off, the secondary panel located on the interior will not work. Now, the secondary panel, commonly found in garage or in bedroom closet, you as a renter can control. These breakers control the power to the electrical outlets and light fixtures in the living room, bedrooms, hallway, kitchen, and dining room. If no power, check the breaker to make sure the breaker is on. And if the breaker has tripped, simply turn the breaker off, then back on. This will reset the power to the outlet or light fixture. Safety notice: if the breaker trips immediately after resetting and stays in the off position, do not attempt to reset the breaker a second time. Submit a work order for the problem to your property manager. Now, this is a GFCI outlet, ground fault circuit interrupter. The only difference here is the power reset is on the outlet itself. These GFCIs are located in the garage, kitchen, bathrooms, front and rear exterior by the door. GFCIs may vary depending on the builder and the year the property was built. Note: the garage electrical GFCI controls the outlets by the front and rear door. If the button on the outlet is protruding outward and the light is on, this means no power. However, in other types of GFCI, it may be reversed, meaning the light will be on, but when tripped, the light will be off. But generally, if you have no power, just push the reset button that is protruding from the GFCI in order to reset the power. And as a last resort, check the breaker prior to submitting a work order to your property manager. Next item on your orientation list is the exterior drain line. This is a location where condensation from the air conditioning unit will terminate. If this drain line is blocked from insects, grass, or tilted upward at an angle and not allowing water to drain freely, it will flow back into the house. What you as a renter needs to know is, make sure that when cutting the grass, this drain line is clear and not blocked. You should be able to see water leaking from this drain line during the summer months while the unit is operating. Also, secondary drain lines can be installed in several locations on the exterior of the property, like in this picture. It can be at the soffit vents, by the front door, on the rear patio ceiling, or on the opposite side of the property. If you see water draining from this location, this is a good indicator that the primary drain line is blocked and a work order needs to be submitted for repair. Next, water softener, which is commonly found in the garage or sometimes on the exterior wall. Not all rental properties will have this item. The only requirement you as a renter need to be familiar with is making sure salt pellets is visible in the tank. If the salt pellets are low, you may need to add some to the tank. If you hear noise coming from this machine, no need to be alarmed. It is during the backwash process. During the backwash process, it's cleaning itself and removing bacteria from the water. Next is a garage opener. Not all rental property has this item. What you need to know as a renter about this component first is that this can be dangerous to children. Never close the vehicle garage door when the automobile or children are in direct line of the door. When not paying close attention, this door can cause major damage or injury to a loved one. Also, damage to garage door has been a big tenant expense due to renters driving into the door, backing into the door, and pressing the remote button while the car is in line of the door. As a renter, always double check the garage door, ensuring it is in the upward stationary position before moving your vehicle in or out of the garage. Next is sprinkler operation. Not all rental property has sprinkler irrigation systems installed. If your rental property has a sprinkler system, it will have a control box on the garage wall and a vacuum breaker on the exterior close by. If this is the case, you'll be required to water grass based on your lease agreement. To operate your sprinkler system, follow the directions on the control panel. If you have any problems, contact your property manager. Also, you may be required to drain the sprinkler system during the cold months to prevent damage to the vacuum breaker. Check with your property management company about winterizing the system. If the system freezes and bursts, you may encounter a large water bill or pay fine from the city, and you may be required to pay for repairs. Smoke detector, carbon monoxide detectors, and battery replacement. All rental property is required by law to be equipped with operational smoke detectors, and if gas appliances are being used, carbon monoxide detectors. While renting, if the smoke detectors start to make a beeping sound, it's time to replace the batteries. It's the tenant responsibility to replace the batteries. To do this task, simply pull the lever open, pull the 9-volt battery out, and replace with a new 9-volt battery. In some smoke detectors, you may have to push a small compartment to expose the battery. If after replacing batteries, they continue to beep, use a can of computer air dust spray and spray into the sensors. What is happening is dust has accumulated on the sensors and sends a false signal simulating smoke. If this also fails and it continues to beep, submit a work order to your property manager for repair. Caution statement. Smoke detectors are usually installed in high places, which requires a ladder for changing the battery. Be safe. Take safety precautions when doing this project. Note: never remove, unhook a smoke detector from its location. If this is found during a routine inspection, you may be charged for reinstallation. Another orientation item is air filter replacement. This has been the biggest problem when it comes to rental property. Renters cannot find the air filter location in the house. As a rental inspector, this is true because builders place air handlers in different locations, i.e., attics, garages, and bathrooms. The most common place will be in the hallway closet. Also, depending on the type of unit, you may need a screwdriver to remove a cover to gain access to the air filter. If this is the case, simply remove the screw on the cover with a screwdriver and the filter is under a metal retainer. Once you locate the air conditioner, open the trap door at the bottom, pull out the filter and replace with a new one. Replacing the air filter may vary depending on your lease agreement, but it is recommended every 30 to 45 days depending on how often you operate the air conditioning unit. Also make note of the size and airflow direction. The arrow needs to point upward into the unit, and adding a small amount of bleach to the drain line will help reduce blockage from sludge. I have provided a picture of a return vent where a past renter had dogs and did not change the air filter for several months and was charged for a work order repair when the unit did not operate. Caution statement. Air filters usually installed in high places, which requires the use of a ladder for changing the filter. Be safe and take safety precautions when doing this project. Next, the water shutoff valves for the toilets and sinks. Under the toilet is one shutoff valve that you'll need to turn if you get a plumbing leak. Under the sink you have two shutoff valves, one for the hot, one for the cold. If you notice a plumbing leak, turn the knobs in a clockwise direction. Now if you have turned them off and the water continues to flow, then you'll have to contact the city to turn the water off at the street curb. This will help to mitigate damages. Another item on your orientation is the garbage disposal. To operate the disposal, always turn the water on first. Then flip the switch on the countertop that is located either on the left or right side of the sink. Now, if the garbage disposal does not work when you flip the switch and you hear a humming sound, this means a hard object has locked into the blades and will not allow the motor to rotate. Ensuring the switch on the countertop is in the off position, obtain a disposal wrench, insert it into the bottom of the motor. Then rotate the wrench backwards and forwards to unlock the motor and dislodge the object. Afterward, remove the disposal wrench, press the red reset button. Now, operate again by turning on the water and flipping the switch to the on position to make sure the garbage disposal operates. After you have completed the basic troubleshooting steps and the disposal still does not work, then submit your work order request to the property manager. Note, you may be responsible for the service call if it's determined it was based on renter negligence. Keep in mind, you do not want to place bones or any hard item like eating utensils in the disposal. The last item on your orientation list is dishwasher operation. To operate the dishwasher, simply turn the knob to the appropriate setting to operate. Or if it has a push button, push the appropriate button. After you have done that step and the dishwasher does not operate, check for a switch on the countertop either above the dishwasher or to the left of the sink and flip it to the on position. The dishwasher should start. If it does not, check the breaker in the garage to see if it's in the on position. Note, setting the dial to pots and pans, the unit will operate 1.5 to 2 hours. Setting the dial to normal, the unit will operate for 30 to 45 minutes. In closing, all rental property are not the same. Depending on the year the rental property was built, certain components may be of different model or in a different location. Check with your property management if you have any problems. That completes my orientation. On behalf of Basic Home Inspection, thank you for watching this presentation.